Alright guys, so we are back. It is the next day. I have everything laid out. So everything that I bought, it was their large kit. So it comes with two U-bends, two 180 degree bends, two 90s, two 45s, and two pieces of straight. This is a piece of the 2-inch pipe just for reference. We'll go over that in a little bit. I got couplers, so I just bought a 1 foot section. I'm going to try and get these pipes as close together as I can, so I can use less couplers. So I'm going to cut this into, I think, 4. So we would get, it's a 1 foot section, so we'd get 4 3-inch couplers out of this 1 foot section. I do also have, from when I originally turboed the car, I have a bunch of 2.5-inch couplers as well. So we picked up also some worm gear clamps. I have the T-bolt clamps just in case. I didn't really like how they worked. I was always having leaks with those. Maybe it's just because they're cheap eBay crap. But I really haven't blown off any charge pipes with the 2.5-inch worm gear or the 2-inch worm gears that I have on the car now. We have a reducer. This is going to go from turbo. The turbo outlet is 2-inch, and then we'll be at 2.5-inch for the rest of the piping. I do have another 45. It's a 2-inch to 2.5-inch. There is one section on the car that gets really tight. I'm going to see if I can work around it and fabricate some 2.5-inch piping to fit around it. But in the case that I can't do that, we'll just keep it at the 2-inch pipes. They look like they're routed really well. Hopefully I can get some 2.5-inch piping through there and get those routed really well so I can just not restrict the system at all. And then we also have the 2.5-inch to 3-inch for the intercooler. We will show you guys the new intercooler once we're in there. And then 2-inch clamp for on the turbo, 3-inch clamp for on the intercooler. And then we had it's an 8-inch port that we can put into one of the couplers wherever we want. At some point, I'm going to put this in, probably not today. I want to have another gauge kind of as like a reference to see if there's any loss through the intake manifold or through the vacuum lines or whatever is going on there. So I can see how much pressure is really in the charge pipes versus in the intake manifold that is running to the boost gauge in the car. So at some point I'll hook that up. Yeah, anyway, this is all of the stuff. So we're gonna start pulling stuff off the car, get everything installed. I'll kind of walk through everything with you. Yeah. I also wanted to do a quick comparison between the two pipes. That's why I brought this one over. So 2-inch pipe, nice, flows really well, or from what I can tell, it flows really well. The car performs pretty awesome with this, and it fits in the engine bay amazingly. So much better than any of the bigger piping. That was a huge part of it for me. And at the time that I went full 2-inch piping, I was thinking about just the boost pressure and building boost pressure as fast as I could. Less space inside the pipe means less time spent compressing air. But if your turbo's efficient, it really doesn't even matter, I guess. I don't know. To an extent, it doesn't matter that much. You're not going to lose that much time going with the bigger pipe. The biggest difference, I mean, you can see how big of a difference that is in pipe size. More volume, more time building boost, but also more volume means more air available to your engine. So the primary tubes going into the intake, or on the intake manifold going into the each port of the cylinder head, they're about 1 inch. So 2 of those takes up the amount of pressure that is being built in this pipe. So the turbo's having to work overtime, I guess, to fill up 4 1-inch pipes from a 2-inch charge pipe, if that kind of makes sense. The throttle body is a 2.5-inch. The pipe going into the intake manifold is a 2.5-inch pipe. So I feel like just running a 2.5 inch system is probably the most efficient, and yeah, it would probably suit the bigger turbo that I'm running a lot better than the 2-inch piping, even though the outlet on the turbo is a 2-inch outlet. I don't know, I'm in my head just thinking about it, and it makes sense to me. Alright, so we have turbo back down here, comes up 90, small piece of straight, 90 down, it comes down, we have a 180 degree bend right here, there's a 90 as well in there, and then straight into our new intercooler. I chopped a hole in the bumper, put a little bit of mesh there, as you guys can see. We come out of the intercooler back into 2-inch piping. The inlet and outlet of the intercooler are 3-inch, like I said before. We 90 back, a little piece of straight, and then 45 up, and then it comes into I think it was like 135 degree bend or something like that, and then 90 and up to 2.5 inch where our blow off valve, diverter valve, whatever you want to call it, goes into there, and then into 2.5 inch for the intake. And here is the new intercooler. It is a 4-inch core with 3-inch inlet, 3-inch outlet. It is a tube and fin style intercooler, not the bar and plate that I used to have. And with the core just being so much bigger, it works so much more efficiently. I think the bar and plate are a lot more efficient for sure, but this thing is just so massive that it is cooling the air at a crazy rate compared to the old intercooler, especially with the bumper cutout that I put there. So you can touch these after you've been driving, and they are definitely cool to the touch. Starts to warm back up at the intake manifold, and yeah, big fan. It was about $130, definitely well worth it. Alright guys, so we got some beads rolled on this pipe here. Not the best, not the worst. The end on this side didn't crumple really at all, honestly. The bead came out really nice. So there's that. And then this side, these ends are just, it's not very round. If you feel the corners on these pipes, usually it's just not that round. They are mandrel bent, but it's just, I don't know, the aluminum is just kind of cheap, and it does this weird stuff. As you can see, it just kind of it's not very round. It'll seal just fine in the coupler, but it is just not as round as you would like. So anyway, we've got this pipe made. This is the last pipe that I need until I can figure out if I'm going to be using the 2-inch pipes to go around the battery in that location. This one will come out of the intercooler and into that 45 2-inch to 2.5 inch. This guy here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to put the rest of the 2.5 inch piping, like that spot that I showed you guys where it goes and snakes around the battery. It's just really tight in there. I'm going to see if I can work around it. It'll probably be in the next couple days. We'll see if I can get some 2.5 inch piping around there, but it's just so tight and that other piping fits so well. I might just leave it alone. But yeah, this is the last piece that I'm going to do for the day, and we'll just leave the project unfinished for now. So I wrapped it up for the day. It is starting to get rainy outside, really cloudy. Still have like an hour and a half of sunlight, but I would rather get this done and wrapped up for today because I have to take the car to work tomorrow. This is a big issue with the whole YouTube thing. That's why I kind of stopped uploading videos. I was working way too much. The car is my daily. I've been dailying it. It's been like 5 years since we built the car, and it's been going strong ever since, but I've been working full-time basically that whole time, so I can't do like big projects like what I really want to do with the car, and do all the big stuff. I can't really do because I have to work either the next day or I only have 2 days to complete a project, which isn't enough unless you're rushing. So this had to turn into like a half-day project. So we got the 2-inch outlet coming from the turbo into this 90, into this 45, and then down past the pulleys, like the power steering and stuff like that. And then we'll make a U-bend into the intercooler. I'm trying to make these a little bit longer so they are not as willing to blow off. If they're almost butted up together, each pipe, and then held with the clamp or the whatever silicone pipe and the clamps, it still has a lot of way to go. It has about an inch on each side here until it wants to blow apart. And I kind of did that with this 45 leads into this pipe, and when they're just resting in the car, they're like basically like that close together. So the clamp and the hose coupler will just keep it really snug in there, and we're not going to have so many blowouts. So yeah, that's how I'm trying to do it. All right. So that took a little longer than expected, but we got everything in. It's kind of hard to see, but turbo's down there, comes up 90s, 45 straight, that 90, and then the extended piece is down there. It's really close to hitting the power steering, I believe. Oh no, the AC compressor is the close one, but I have it pulled tight. And then here is the 180 and 90's back up. So everything extremely tight, pretty rigid. We will get onto this other side probably next week. For now, it's gonna have to just live like this. Right, so with the bumper on, it clears even better than before. Looks a little different because the pipe's not black, but we're good. We are good. Everything clears nice. Gotta put the grill back on. Everything is really solid, like I said. Built it really tight, so this is almost touching the other pipe in here. Everything is just resting where it wants to be, and should be good. Alright guys, so that is a wrap on that first half. I do have one more pipe to put in on the other side of the intercooler, and then to figure out if I can route around the battery, but for now I'm just going to be done. I'm going to drive the car how it is now, and I will actually throw the GoPro up and we'll see if just that little first half of the piping is enough to get the turbo to stop whining like it did. Yeah, otherwise I don't know where that whining is coming from, but we'll see if the intercooler pipes are in charge of that. So I'll see you guys a little bit later when we do some driving with the GoPro.